comes down off that thing.
Had to help my mom actually.
I don't know, maybe.
Liz, are you, is your speaker on? Is your speaker on?
Can't breathe.
Definitive clip.
I think it was.
Yeah, I found another-
The volume was up on mine.
This is a quote for one of the other trucks.
And those ones are like.
Awesome. Just going, those flying fingers, you gotta stop those flying fingers. Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
That's the link.
Everybody got it.
I see it.
For two agencies.
Probably one of the people
Stop dancing around over there.
What?
Stop dancing around.
Have we
I
used,
forgot that I actually can drop my phone out.
I was gonna say, have we used enough of the hand sanitizer finally that it won't support it?
No,
No one's used this in like 2 years now. I think it's.
no, it does get used a little bit.
It just smells so bad.
Anyone who knows is like.
That stuff, that one's sticky.
Oh,
And
it's
I have-
it's,
sticky and stinky.
Oh, it stinks too.
Oh,
I probably should throw that one out and open a different one.
This for America.
I don't need windows and apps to access my location, do I?
no,
No.
I just need it to let me in.
and you're getting in. Who's me?
I don't know who me is.
They were
Here
also
last-
year, last year.
I was supposed to. I'm supposed to be
Do I need video? Tell me other people. I don't want video. Do you? You don't have video from that, though, for you. You know what? This needs to go your direction.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Push this back. We're gonna slide and let you be online. Because Jessica's got her own.
75 cents. If you look at the,
Yeah, I saw that too.
but if you look at the resolution, the way it's worded, it looks like we gave him 50 cents instead of 25 cents.
Right, in the minutes. It's
Yeah.
50.
No, it's written in the minutes the same way it's written in the highway contract. It's a total of 50. That's not what they asked. They asked for
75 cents.
to be a total of 75.
Yeah, but this says result approve the 50 cent per hour raise in addition to the base pay.
Right,
So that would bring it up to 75 cents.
no, because that's not the way it's not. It's 50 cents. The base pay
was-
without order that's already
Gotcha,
in it. It's
gotcha.
50 cents.
Nice.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Are we ready?
You can start. Everything's set.
Can't run away. Waiting on you, Liz.
What do you want, a smaller one? Something closer to one. He's good with working. He's, you know, likes to-
I'd like to call the February monthly audit meeting town of Hector to order. Please rise and recite the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Any question or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
We have a first and a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments journal entries. I have several. One is on the sheet that shows the expenses. There's a journal entry for a transfer $100 from A 1990.4 contingency to A 1450.4 election expenses. This is from to cover a bill for a new telephone outlet at the Mecklenburg Fire Department left over from last fall's election cycle. It was required of them to put in by the Board of Elections and the Sheriff's Department.
And the Board of Elections refused to pay for it.
Yes. Because the contract says fire department will provide it. For the facility.
The-
The
Or
facility.
the municipality
Yes.
is what I think it says in the contract, but they don't tell us that that's what it says in the contract. So
So we're paying for the $100 phone outlet. Then we have a list of budget journal entries. None of these are because of shortages. It's moving money into the funds where they're supposed to be. For example, we created this, we taxed for $75,000 in money for the building reserve fund for a future new town hall and highway garage. However, we put that under a line that doesn't really exist in our budget. So we're going to move that $75,000 from A 9950.95 capital fund to A 962, which is budgetary provisions for other uses. So moving it to the reserve section. Now, the other thing that has happened is the way we budgeted interest for the reserve funds. The way that it showed up in the budget was those funds were available for just regular use, but it's the interest earned on the specific reserve funds. So we're going to go through the different reserve funds and make sure that money is sitting someplace where that interest lives in the reserve fund and doesn't get lost in the fund balance. So I need to move 14,500 from A 599 appropriated fund balance to A 962 budgetary provisions for other uses. That's for the A fund. In the D fund, you can tell there's a lot of money in that reserve fund because we are moving $50 from DA 599 appropriated fund balance to DA 962 budgetary provisions for other uses. That's the reserve funds. Repair reserve for the water district. Very similar to that. It's specific when we bill, there's money that goes into the repair refund. The way it's been floating along, that money's been sitting in fund balance, and theoretically it shouldn't be in fund balance because we can't use that money for anything but repairing issues with the water system. So I want to move it into the right line, which is we're going to move it from SW 599 appropriated fund balance, $30,000 to SW 962 budgetary provisions for other uses. And lastly is the interest on the repair reserves. We're going to move from appropriated fund balance SW 599 to SW 962 budgetary provisions for other uses. And that's $9,500.
So why do we have, it's unclear to me why we have to move the interest. If it's interest from the reserve fund, that's for a specific purpose, like.
Because right now, the way it's set up, the money
it's
that we
not in
budget,
the reserve.
it's not in the reserve fund, it's just floating in the general fund.
Oh,
So if we were to start spending money, we could unintentionally or intentionally this way, spend the interest money that should be in the reserve fund.
why is it moving around in the general fund if it was made interest on the reserve fund?
Because the way it was budgeted,
It was,
it was budgeted as it was not defined. It should have been budgeted under a different line.
So this is just a one-time thing.
It's a one-time thing to clean it up so that the money is living in the reserve fund where it's supposed to be instead of in the general fund or
Yeah.
the fund balance.
Yeah.
That
okay.
make
Yeah, I guess it does.
It's money in the reserve fund. There's specific ways you're supposed to be able to take it out and spend it,
Yeah,
and if it's in the fund balance, there's no restriction on it, we can spend it anyway. So we
right,
want to make sure that the money that is earned is going to the right place.
okay,
So it's just, this is, all these changes are basically cleaning up books.
okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Clear that up?
I'll make a motion to approve the journal entries and budget amendment.
Okay, we have a first and a second. If there's no further questions or comments, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next up is
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
thank you.
One second, the motion.
We have a first and a second to pay the bills as audited. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. That being done, we're gonna move to the 10-minute public comment period. It is now 7:09. If you choose to make a public comment, all that we ask is that you state your name and address. Anybody in the public want to speak up today?
Pressure's on you. Do you want, what about this email we got as a public?
Paul's
comment?
Versick's letter.
Sure. Would you like to read that?
Please consider this my public comment for tomorrow's meeting. Is if it's difficult to implement, I'd be satisfied knowing that you have received this link to the article about, I guess basically he's wanting people to know about, property tax exemption for low income seniors. You can read the whole thing, but I mean, that's basically what it.
And disabled people.
And disabled people, yeah.
So Tompkins County just passed legislation for their residents to have 50% reduction on their property tax.
Yes, but what Tompkins County just did was raised the income limits on their existing senior citizens
Okay.
exemptions. And
Okay.
Schuyler County does have an existing senior citizens exemption. We do have several residents that qualify for it, although the income limits on it are very low. My recommendation to the town board was you should contact the county and see why they haven't raised them in eons of years.
Because the town pretty much follows.
The
county,
town
correct?
follows what the county does. And I don't know if we can raise it without the county raising their share. So that would be something to pursue with the county legislatures, because that income limit is probably a little over $20,000 a year. And that's,
That's the Schuyler County limit.
yeah,
And the
it's,
Tompkins County one is higher than that.
yeah,
Mhm.
there are more and more people that are not qualifying by a tiny few dollars
Hmm.
with that income limit, but.
Yeah, I think so. In the article, Tompkins County raised it to 35. Does anyone remember?
Yeah, I know, but I just,
35,000.
Schuyler County's is very, very low.
All right, thank you, Paul, glad we were able to read this into record, and we should probably reach out to the county and talk to them. Too bad our county representative was not here this evening. There's no further public comments. We're gonna close the public comment period and move on to the Sustainability Committee.
So the committee, we are continuing to try to sign up people for the heating and cooling campaigns. My understanding is it's getting tougher because a lot of these sites are going away. We're still working on that. In the past couple of years, we've had Earth Day events. I'm sure we're thinking of a table instead of an event. Because the event is part of their work. We haven't determined what we would put at the table, but we're thinking we might have the table at the repair cafes. So that would be May 3rd for Hector, April 26th for Montreux Falls, and Earth Day is April 22nd, so it's kind of in that area. We're considering another swap meet. We've had for the past couple of years at Dumpster Day, but we're aware that last year's wasn't that as successful as the other one or two that we had. So we're thinking about moving it outside closer to the dumpsters, maybe getting tents. We're not too sure how this would work particularly. But we'll continue to talk about it. We want to make sure we're not in the way, but we want to make it convenient for people that might want to, you know, pass something along instead of throwing it out.
That makes sense.
We've suggested, the committee has suggested through Liz that the town consider incorporating sustainability ideas into the comprehensive plan. And there's a whole list of these sustainability ideas that have been put out by the Climate Smart Communities Program. So these would be things like water conservation, land preservation, minimizing solid waste. And then finally, we are still in the process of evaluating potential projects. You want to comment on that?
No, I was just
I
saying
just-
that you can pass that on to the.
Yeah, I forwarded. it.
Okay, all right. So I just better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, okay. And then we're looking at other things that we can work on this year, pulling a lot of ideas from, again, the Climate Smart Communities Program. We still haven't agreed as a committee what we want to present to the board. The things we're thinking about would be a heating emergency plan. In the event we have a power outage and people need a place to go. To have a more formal plan in place. Having recycling at public events hosted by the town. And then maybe working on a buy green, buy local community campaign. That's those things seem to be of interest to the committee members. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Looks like we're up to highway.
Highway, those months been kind of a. Bizarre, busy.
I'll give that time.
Yeah, we don't have a highway report.
Huh?
We
We
don't.
didn't do one.
Have a highway report?
Hmm?
I
Everybody's done for their highway report.
No, I
They
had
don't.
to go do my license and Jane says you can have a verbal one. I said, okay. We've done quite a few plowings and blades, plowed snow. We're still working at Spalding's reclaiming. We've chipped some brush on Potomac Road. That's pretty well plowing and sanding. It's been keeping us pretty busy here. This little.
Did you have a new piece
Instead
of
of-
equipment delivered today too?
Yes, we had.
How'd that go?
Our boom mower got delivered today, but we parked it out front for you, but we didn't know how much the parking lot would be full, so it's a little ways away.
At the last. Did you get copies of this?
Yeah, they're down in your
Okay.
packet somewhere, but I got. them
At
right
the
here.
last board meeting, we discussed granting a longtime town employee who's been our mechanic. He originally started working for the town in 2002 and left briefly in 2005 and came back. We discussed recognizing the first 2 years of, or 3 years almost, of his service date. And so I'm gonna share the resolution. The town board resolves to approve John Swayze be credited with initial work time period of 12/2/2002 to 6/23/2005 as an MEO mechanic, instead of the civil service recognized hire date mechanic on 11/28/2005. This will allow John Swayze the additional 1 week, 40 hours vacation allotted to all employees with 20 years of employment on their 20th anniversary. And this will be 40 hours to be added to the 160 credit on 1/1/25 for a total of 200 hours.
A second to motion.
Any further questions or comments? We discussed this at length, but we wanted to make sure we worded the resolution correctly. John's been a long time reliable employee who's worked very hard. So I think it's a great way to recognize his efforts.
It's definitely gonna be missed. He's. I don't know if I can get him to the end of March, the way things have been. I'm sure he's gonna be as bald as me next month.
Well, if there's no further questions or comments. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Right. We have one other issue that, did you have those minutes, Mike?
That's them.
At our negotiations with the highway department in November or September, excuse me. The position of safety officer and foreman, they had requested an increase up to 75 cents per hour. That was a mistake in my understanding. I thought they wanted the 50 cents addition, I thought was a total of 50 cents. So they were actually looking for bringing it to 75 cents. At the last board meeting, we approved an increase of to 50 cents, which was below their expectations after our initial meeting in September. So as a board, we need to decide if we're gonna move it up to full 75 cents per hour. And if so, we're going to need to pass another resolution that dates to January 1st.
This is the foreman and the
Safety
Safety
officer.
officer.
coordinator's position.
Yes.
Any thoughts, comments, feelings?
How was this mistake made? Just we got confused or?
We got confused, I believe, honestly. We talked about this in September and said that before we would consider making the increase, that we needed the job descriptions. And then that kind of got lost and they showed up in January, the job descriptions. And at that point in time, I think I led the charge with the belief that it was a increase to 50 cents, not an increase of 50 cents.
Gotcha.
And they did, I mean, here are the minutes from the meeting on September 23rd, and said upon the return of the additional request was asked for a 75 cents per hour increase. So it was discussed, that was the actual
That was the
request,
understanding.
that was the understanding
For them,
from
yeah.
them, yeah.
Okay.
Is it September?
Once he just,
That was the highway contract negotiations in September.
So would we make a new resolution, replacing the old one, or would we just make a resolution? I'd like to see this.
Yeah, sure, sorry.
They're paid by 25 more times.
yeah, would we do a second one?
You could actually rescind the January resolution and make a resolution that is a 50 cent increase, making the total stipend 75 cents per hour.
Effective January 1st.
Right. So you can do it whichever way works.
Should those be two separate resolutions or? Doesn't?
Well, you can rescind the one resolution and further resolve to do the,
I'm happy to make that motion of rescinding the January 1st contract with the supervisor and safety officer and to make the 75 cents an hour increase per the understanding of the negotiations.
I would second, except foreman. not
Foreman.
supervisor.
And
Yeah,
it needs to
safety.
be retroactive to January 1st.
And retroactive January 1st.
We have a first and a second. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody wish to abstain?
Sorry for that screw up.
Yeah, sorry for the
All right, so
confusion.
who seconded it?
Liz did.
Okay, thank you.
Now they gotta live up to the expectation.
Yes. We move on to the water district. The plague is currently going through,
Wait, I have one more.
oh,
thing.
sorry.
I got mentioned there's a speed bump in Texas Hollow Road. It's pretty high. You guys changed the culvert. Is the frost pushing it up? We thought it was getting worse. I don't know if you got up Texas Hollow Road.
I was daydreaming day before yesterday and I couldn't count every one of my wall bolts when my wall jumped up. I know exactly what bump you're talking about.
Well,
You noticed it too.
his
then.
comment was it was a little.
Well,
ugly that they-
normally when you plow it, you slow right down and you go over it, but I was on an errand with a truck down in Montour and I was just touring through daydreaming and said, oh crap, and I reached for the brakes, but it was.
Too late.
Well, he said it was better if he hit it about 50. than he did.
No, not if you got a plow on the front of your truck, it ain't.
Maybe. Shave it up.
Wow, that's pretty hard right this minute, but yes, we will, that is on the list.
Or mark it better. He said there was, might have been one cone in the end,
There is one phone.
maybe a couple more. He was concerned that a small car would lose control over the speed.
Oh, it would be there. Yeah. It's.
Quite the speed.
We were talking to the gentleman that put it in this morning and he says it was smooth when I left. I says, I don't really believe that the ground's settling on either side.
I was wondering if Roth was pushing it up.
And
I think we should move it to Smith Park Road.
Yeah, there you go.
Put a culvert in on that one, we all said. One on
I'll
either
talk to
side.
Kirby about it.
All right. Sorry.
Hey, no problem. Scott, is anything else you wanted to share? Thank you, sir.
Some,
Some of the things we talked about in the highway committee.
but,
Great. But we can get that done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys, have a good night.
Water district, as I started to say, Jeremy is out sick. Josh is not feeling well. When I met with him earlier today, he was masked up, so we chose not to have either one of them here to represent and share whatever is lurking down in their building. So he did submit a written report, a couple important things. We're still fighting with the Department of Health and the engineering firm and the Moravic well drilling to get this water test done. He did locate and resolve a very large water leak that was essentially across the street from the water plant, pumping out about 30,000 gallons of water per day.
It's different than the one they worked on earlier this year, right there.
Different section of the same service. This is
Oh.
where that one was up the service a ways, and this was at the joint of the service to the main
Mhm.
line. So yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything's working properly. They corrected that. We had a brief discussion about the concern expressed by one of the neighbors and the DEC approved drain. He has numbers on that and we'll address it more further. Otherwise, that's the water report. We do have a water board meeting scheduled for March 12th. Rebecca. I think you're the only one on the water board here, other than me. How about we go on to parks? Smith Park.
Okay. Camping reservations have opened for 25. Opening day was February 1st. So, you should be able to make reservations and everything now. That's all good to go. We're still in the process of looking into adding seasonals on the camp spot. This would hopefully give us the ability to take credit card payments from them. Hopefully as well, giving us the ability to text the campers as a whole. Last year we had a separate texting service that we were using, which worked out well, but it is an extra fee. This texting service with CampSpot through the actual CampSpot itself would be a lot less of a fee. Still charge, but not quite as bad.
Can we pause
So-
for just a second?
Mm.
Liz, can you make sure that the YouTube, Facebook link is working? Because Jane
I can't access
she
it.
can't access it.
Yeah, it says we're on YouTube.
I just wanted to pause for,
I just can't find it, so I can't. the last meeting shows up, but tonight does not show up.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Share it automatically. This time I copied the link. But, and I mean, I see it on the top of the feed, but I think it was just the link to the YouTube video.
This one.
I know it worked
I think
last.
I think it now is showing up.
Is it?
It says there are 4 watching, so,
There is some latency.
yeah, it wasn't coming up at all, so. Now it looks like it is there, thank you.
All right, great. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Audrey.
Good. Okay, so you guys heard everything I said about the texting and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if, we get seasonals on CampSpot, whether they pay cash or check, will they be on CampSpot in order to be able to be in the texting service?
Yeah,
Because,
I believe
I
so.
mean,
What are you asking?
well, the texting service that CampSpot offers if they're registered through it.
Yeah,
If you have a seasonal that pays with a check or cash
yeah.
and doesn't want to go into CampSpot, they don't end up being on that particular texting service, right?
Well, they would have to be in CampSpot. We'd have to put them in CampSpot.
So maybe we
to
could
get
put them
the
in
text-
CampSpot
Manually.
Yeah.
for a
Yes.
holding thing, yeah, and
We
then
would-
they still be, because we only want one text service to go out.
Right.
Yeah,
Whether it's CampSpot or the
Yeah.
extra one.
we would have to enter all the seasonals ourselves into CampSpot. They wouldn't
Yes.
be doing that themselves. We would.
Oh, even if they're gonna use a credit card, right, because
Yeah.
we gotta
Per site, cause.
But it
set
would
up
allow- they
the
ha-
signatures and everything before they go in,
And right now, they have no way to pay via credit card.
right?
Cause all our credit card services, like the dog licensing or taxes, they're all like in certain programs.
Yeah, I understand,
So
I
there's-
understand
so
all
that's-
that,
yeah.
yeah. They don't put them in, we'll put them in.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's on us.
Yeah,
I have to go into the back end of the system and manually enter them into CampSpot.
okay,
So,
yeah,
okay, I've made a new seasonal application. Waitlist sheet, I guess. This is something that is with you guys. That's a new form that I made for campers requesting to be seasonal. Basically, if you want to be put on the wait list for a seasonal campsite, you would fill one of these out and then you get added to the wait list. And this just has more detailed information like email, phone number, size and details of the camping units and boats, preferences on electrical sites, non-electrical sites. It has been posted to the Hector Town website and the Smith Park website, so it's on both of those. So. I have 13 seasonals coming back this year, 8 not returning. 4 we are still working with to try and get situated. Once I do get those 4 figured out, then I can start working off of the wait list. I'm hoping that can be within the next week or so. Did you guys want to set a final notification date as to when I should get notification from these 2 that I'm waiting to hear back if they want their site or not?
Well,
Or-
the deadline for everyone was March 15th, as far as they put in the deposit, which is refundable, right? And then it was March 15th. That was like, they have to send in the final payment.
Yes.
So that makes sense to me that the final payment would be, that they would have to send in the whole lump sum. There's no deposit at that
By the
point.
15th. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it would be the lump sum plus the deposit, right? Because the deposit is being retained as a security deposit.
Just so I had a date,
Nope, that makes sense.
so I can kind of set some boundaries, that's all. I had 1 more firewood permit bought, makes a total of about 5 since it's been released. That's been pretty decent, everybody that's
asked me about them, has commented on their wood, and I haven't had any issues with that, so that's been pretty good.
With the permit, has it been one truckload?
Yep. Yep. Golf carts, I have a question about the golf cart. Can we surplus that, or do we wanna not get rid of it? What do we wanna do with it?
Until this last fall that the golf club repair pit place said that it was it was unfixable, right? That's
I'm pretty sure it's,
I think it's time to move that. piece of equipment.
Albatross.
Yeah, let's make it go away.
Yeah, that's my recollection is just saying had been trucked all the way to Penn or whatever, and the specialist said it was done.
Yeah, so if we want to declare it as surplus, we could work on finding it a new home.
Okay.
Anybody wanna?
That takes the resolution.
I'll make the motion to spare the golf carts next part.
We have a first and a second.
We're gonna auction
I
it.
was just gonna ask, that was my next, I was gonna ask that question, do we have a way of, can we put that in Auctions International? Do
You
you
can
know?
put anything on there,
Do we try giving that a
but
shot?
I don't know what you'll get out of it, but somebody needs to take pictures and then I need all of the information. I need like serial number
I can take a look at it.
and all that information. I've got a sheet I can give you that asks for all the pertinent information.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Shall we
You
add,
need the motion for that?
we
No, I meant to.
add it to? can
We
add it to the
add
motion?
it to it and list on Auctions International.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any further questions or comments about the golf cart? Hearing none, all in favor of listing it as surplus and getting it online for sale? Aye.
We had a scheduled walkthrough with Will Jennings about tree plantings. We met with him on Monday the 3rd. We have a goal to order some plantings from Skylar Soil and Water. Order deadline for that is March 7th. We're still in the process of working on that, so.
Are we gonna look into any larger trees? Or strictly
The larger trees would be through that or something else?
something else? These, the soil. and
I
water ones are
have the
pretty-
other two places,
Okay,
the applications that we can.
and
look
I have
into.
some information that I recovered for a previous park supervisor as to where the village of Watkins Glen purchases all their larger trees.
What trees are you talking about, bare root stuff?
Yep, bare root, it's a form, I have it right here,
So
looks like this,
Yeah, no, I know that one.
yep,
No.
and it has all different kinds of plantings and trees and
I
things.
will
on it.
say with those, the success rate of the bare roots is like, you're hitting 50%, you're
Mhm.
killing it. It's not a good.
Also have, part of the discussion with Will was, we order the trees we're gonna order, but he will assist us with the planting. He has a 2-foot auger that he'll dig a hole for wherever we want to put them. He'll backfill the hole with good dirt. He basically knows how to give these trees a good
A
start.
good shot.
And then also how to put the fencing, the protective wire around them and things like that, so we're gonna have his assistance in getting them put in the ground. He
Mhm.
doesn't see a problem with being able to do that, whatever it turns out to be, 10, 20, 30 trees in a day. He's done it before, and he said,
He's got technique.
so we're not stuck with trying to scrape the ground for a bare root stock ourselves. Trying to help the
Right.
guy survives and all that, but as long as, then we have people at personnel at the park that'll keep them watered and keep an eye on the fence and all that, so,
Great, that's great news.
yeah.
So. I did a electrical walkthrough with Jason, he walked through with me, we went through the campsites and whatnot. We did find one electrical box on one post that is missing a lid. So we'll have to probably replace either just the lid or the whole box, I'm not sure if you can replace just the lid. But, and then have our electrician go through the electric in the upper pavilion. To make sure that all of the electric works in there.
Yeah.
Had a little issue,
Half of it didn't work once the
Yeah.
summer.
So I-
And one side did, one side didn't.
like
so-
to make sure that we get that figured out. So that's in the plans for that. Last couple of things, we are working on an RFP for a pole barn to go in the maintenance area to store equipment. I am writing and typing policies for the park. And my example is processing money procedures. So the procedure of me taking money and all that, adding it to my binder of things so that I have that for if anyone ever needs it. So, also working on a grant that we're hoping to use on our website to get that more updated and user friendly. And then we are working on plumbing quotes for the south bath to turn that urinal in the men's room into a toilet. So we're still looking into that. A little bit more of an extensive job than we initially thought, but we're still getting quotes for all that.
So we're not completely, we're replacing one urinal with an additional stall, right? That was the sort of idea goal because there's not enough stalls.
There's only one stall.
There's only one, yeah.
There's only
Yeah.
one toilet and a urinal, so it gets kind of clogged up because everybody wants to use the toilet and.
Which makes sense for a
Yeah.
bar, but doesn't make sense for a campground, because the main reason that men are using the bathroom is for the toilet.
Yeah. And we, Mallory is kind enough to help me, we got the $75,000 grant with sustainability committee for, we're gonna do EV chargers and solar panels in Smith Park. We hope to put them on the roof of the barn, but the barn will only fit a third of the panels that we can afford with the grant, so. If anyone has thoughts about other places that the town owns that have good southern exposure, but we could put solar, please talk to me, because we, could only fit 10 kilowatt hours on the roof of that building, and we could put in about 30 kilowatt hours, and so about a third.
Those are separate, the charging station and this.
They're in two separate spots.
They're two different
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Two different.
They're both getting the same grant, but yeah. Yeah. So
You need,
I guess I'll just ask this question because Mallory and I talked about it while we were waiting for the person the other day, but we were wondering if we could put the boat launch on the website and then just print a QR code and put a sign with the QR code right down at the boat launch, so people could pay with their credit card by just scanning the QR code. So I didn't know if that's possible to just put it on our website, so people can pay with their credit card.
If we got a different credit card service, we could, a separate standalone, which we kind of looked a little bit into last year. No, there was some, okay, so.
There's
yes,
a- there's
we looked
another
into
issue.
this About putting a
Yes.
sign down there at the QR code. We'd have to get a separate, the credit card company that serves Camp Spot can do it, but it wouldn't be through Camp Spot. It would be just their separate service. And in that case, we would have to eat the credit card costs. There's no way, like in Camp Spot, the credit card fees get put back on the customer. In
That's why I
this
was wondering
case,
if we could put it on our website, just like a dog license is, like it could just be boat launch fee, $5. And then the credit card fee be on top of it, just like we have to do for the dog licenses. And then we could just basically have a QR code to our website and people could pay their.
That would only be if you run it through the My Town Clerks program.
yeah, I was gonna say there's an issue with. the
Because
credit card
there's
processing.
no program. That credit card company that I use, dog licenses, that's all through our Williamson Law Book. Computer program. It all goes through that, and so dog licenses are on there, and that's what gets done in that fee. The customer actually pays that fee, we never see it, we don't handle it, we don't touch it. It's,
Well, I guess I'm just
could
asking.
So-
is it something that could be run through? that?
well, it'd have to be run through my records, and that means it would have to be something added to the town clerk's program. And the credit card availability through the town clerk's program, and then the town clerk would be turning it over to the
I
supervisor.
just think that we would get way better compliance if people could pay with a credit card,
I
like during
agree.
the late. And it just seems like, how
But
different
I-
is it than paying like your dog license? you
Yeah,
know?
but
agree,
they
yeah.
would, they would have to go online to the website, to the town
Right, but you
website
can get
to
a
do
QR
it.
code right to our website. I mean, you just print a
I-
QR code and people, when people scan it, it would take them right to the town website,
Okay,
dog license.
To that
fee.
page.
It would take them
Okay.
right to the
Yeah.
dog license fee, and then they could
Or
pay it.
the
I just,
fee.
you know, I just think people wanna pay it, but it's not convenient enough. to
Yeah,
pay
no,
it.
I think that's a really good idea. Never really thought about that.
Mhm.
A lot
Because
of
the
people-
other, the idea, we kind of just, we looked into it like July last year, so it's kind of in the thick of it.
Mhm.
The other idea was if we do the standalone credit card company, we just add $1 or something onto the
Mhm.
boat launch
Sure.
fees so that everyone's covering the costs of that.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
But I honestly think that that's a better idea.
Yeah,
It's
so
just,
I guess-
it's just the separating out the bookkeeping
right,
in the end, and whether it's monthly or what.
well, but there's
But
another,
what- how much-
that's another thing that I have to track.
Right, that's how much does she have to turn over for Smith Park revenue?
Well, it means that they would also have to change my report because things, and Williams and Lubbock would have to do it and put in a line item. That is a revenue line
Yes, so-
item that would be,
Boat launch, yeah.
that's boat launch that goes to Smith Park. So I don't know what the cost of that would be to do it or not, because no one's.
I'm
talked
just
to
gonna throw
me.
it out there and ask if anybody's willing to
Yeah.
look into it, who, you know, cause I just think that that would be a great way to get. Some more compliance with the boat launching.
It can probably be figured out, but not me at the moment,
Mhm,
because I'm still buried under taxes.
sure.
I can call Williamson Law Books and see if it's a feasible thing to pursue, or
Sure,
if they
yeah.
say no, then it doesn't hurt to ask. We won't know until we ask.
Okay,
Right,
so if you're gonna take that kind of a step and it ends up coming through the town clerk's program. You could set the seasonals up the same way. If you're gonna do boat launch, it's not gonna be hard to do seasonals.
good idea, Jane.
Because we do building permits, we do hunting licenses, we do dog licenses, we do marriage licenses, all through the town clerk's
Mhm, Drew Williamson.
portion. So if that's a consideration. Then. You can have the availability for seasonals.
Cool.
And the one for seasonals can work the same way as our building permit
Mm,
one does, where you have to put in the dollar amount.
All right, it might be. Might be
Yeah,
a
if
bit
you
of a project, but it's
Maybe,
worth
yeah.
exploring.
Find out the numbers on that, I'll
Yeah.
do like a little spreadsheet and figure out the cost difference for us. Going that way versus CamSpot, because then we would lose the the texting service.
mhm.
We wouldn't have that option to text the seasonals.
Well, we
which is-
wouldn't, well, we could still enter them in. We could still,
We can, but they're it's $2 a month. It ends up costing us like $300 and something a year to have the seasonals in CamSpot. Cause it's
Okay.
$2 a month times around 25 seasonals. So
how much was the other
50
texting
bucks a
service?
month times 6 months, huh?
How much was the other text service?
30 bucks a month,
That was-
30 times 6 months, 100.
How
And then you
much
can put it
text
on
are we
a
doing?
$5 a month for the other 6 months.
How much texting are we doing? 200?
Not very much, but it is really nice. Well, there's only so many ways that, like, if she wants to text out, like, we've lost electricity in the park, and she wants to send a text to all the campers in the
Sure.
park that we're supposed to get electricity back at this hour.
Sure,
The only way she can't do it right now. There's no way to do it. I mean, she could.
Manually.
With the transient campers, they're changing all the time,
Mhm.
so she could do it to the seasonals, she could have them loaded up as a group in the text. But the problem is, the only way she could do it is like, we all get text, which you get the whole group, and then if anyone replies to it, everyone gets the whole reply, and then it. So what we're looking for is more of a one-way texting service, which just goes out to them and they can't text back.
mhm.
So yeah, it's turning out to be a little more difficult than you would.
Probably could just drive through the park with a bullhorn.
Yeah.
Power restored.
Power.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you call Williamson and get numbers on that.
Yeah,
I'll,
let's
like,
explore that
figure
because,
out-
I mean, even if we paid,
Yeah, less than 30 bucks. a
we're
month,
still not
yeah.
talking about a ginormous price
Yeah.
difference between the
Exactly.
existing tech service and paying the $2 a month. It might still be worth
Yeah,
the being able to get everybody's information out to them as needed.
yeah, well. And then in Williamson Logbook, they can do ACH too, right? For the water bills, you can do ACH. You do for the dog.
I don't,
Because they're cheaper than
it's an e-check.
Oh, okay,
It's called,
that's
it's not an
$2.50.
ACH, it's an e-check.
okay,
And I think it's $1.75 for an e-check.
$2.50.
So
So
Williamson
the
Logbook.
the water bills.
Well, the
$2.50.
water bills might be $2.50, but town
Right.
clerk is in tax collections $1.75.
Oh, that's good, because that's the seasonal is paying with their credit card, once they get the credit card fee, they're probably on their, it's a big amount. Anyway, okay. All right,
Well,
Well, thanks for looking into it. It just
yes,
Seems like that'd be kind of cool.
we have to appoint,
Thanks,
we have one more thing we have to do.
Yes.
We need to appoint Jason Bond. I guess I'll make this resolution. Town board resolves to appoint Jason Bond as laborer for Smith Park and Mecklenburg Pond Park effective 2/1/25 at a rate of $30.88.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments?
And
If
this
not-
is effective
This is
February 1st.
Effective February 1st.
I guess that's my question, is why it's not retroactive to the first of the year?
No, because he won't be doing anything and we don't typically. He doesn't ever work in January, and sometimes in February, there's a nice day or two where he's down there wandering around. That's about it.
Okay.
Or just bringing it a little earlier than some past
And
years.
past years, yeah.
Because he can have a chance to get going on other things.
Yeah. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Good, welcome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Code enforcement.
Next part.
Oh, excuse me, Mac Park. I apologize.
I don't think you guys didn't get a report or whatever. Just a quick update, like we're having a general meeting tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at the Mac Fire Department. The e-board is gonna be voted upon. There's 3 positions up for vote, president, treasurer, member at large. So that's tomorrow night, 6 p.m. All are welcome. And just a reminder, there's the Tulip Trot, May 3rd. Yeah, and we're working on ordering 5 of our sponsored trees, that we got from Oktoberfest.
Nice.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks, Mia.
Just so you know, we have a meeting in Burdette Fire for the wastewater.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up under my section.
Okay, happy day.
All right. For January, we issued 9 new building permits. We closed out 2 of the permits issued. We have 1 deck, 2 electric upgrades, 2 garages, 1 miscellaneous, 2 renovations, 1 single family home, and completed 2 fire inspections. The issued building permit construction value was just under 600,000. The completed building permit construction value was just under 60,000. We had $2,394 in collected fees. We have a standard notice for Silver Springs Winery that they're renewing their liquor license. The codes department has no objections to this. During their last fire inspection, there was no violations noted, so I don't have an objection at this point to that.
Are these things required?
I
anymore?
thought they weren't
I
required
don't think
anymore.
they're required.
They're not for renewals, but if somebody sends them in to us for a renewal, I just
Yeah.
put it in front of you anyway, it's really just for information purposes unless you had any issues with any changes they might have made on their license.
And then we were going to discuss the telecommunications tower law.
So, last month, this is the same law we read last month, except for it was sent to Rob and he did add, made it more, a law. And he added a few things, it reads pretty similar. And then I had Jason look through it to make sure it made sense on his end, and the one thing that he recommended.
Was under Article under Article 4, Section A, it had listed or modified that a special permit would be needed. My recommendation was that a modification didn't require that. We typically get a handful of modifications for existing towers each year for things like swapping out equipment, adding a backup generator, things like that. And it's pretty standard. We just issue a standard building permit for that. But keeping it where any new towers or moving a tower or something like that would still require the special permit. And if the board chose to do to have a special permit required for a modification, that's your decision, but it would be more labor intensive. And I think that without having it required for modifications, it'll encourage more of that co-location of, so if a company reviews our law, and they find, oh, well, we don't need to go through a potentially year-long process of getting a special permit when we can just add to an existing tower and accomplish our goal. So that was kind of my thought process with removing modifications from the requiring a special permit.
So in your eyes, a modification is another entity joining the tower that's already there.
Right.
Or
Okay.
updating existing,
Yeah.
No, I know, but
yeah,
that company thought it was a big deal that another company decides to pitch on to somebody else's tower, but in your eyes, it's just a modification.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're using the existing tower, and that's I think the intent of this proposed legislation
Right.
is to not more thoroughly regulate new things that are going to affect view sheds and property values, things of that nature. It's not really a change to an existing, or not really it's not changing for lack of a better term.
Footprint. or
Yeah, it's
overall.
right. We're
Yeah.
not
Okay.
going taller. We're not, we're not changing anything with the tower itself, other than adding or taking away.
A little bit of equipment.
Yeah.
I forgot to print out the seeker stuff that he included. Was that specific to this?
To
Was that the tower special permit or what?
It was when there's a local law like that, it requires a seeker,
Okay,
I don't have a copy with me either,
You
but it
didn't
was.
send me the seeker.
I know, I forgot.
It was basically, there was no impact checked for
Okay,
everything, but we can.
I can send that out.
Okay,
send that.
all right, perfect.
But is there, do we need to write up a special permit for towers or? I mean,
We
we
will-
actually need to create a form for that.
Yeah, we'll need to create a form for. It'll basically be, in addition to the building permit application, or it can just be, we can have a standalone form for
Okay.
new towers and.
Okay, I'm happy to do it up, but I need an example.
Yes, I can, I will work on that with you.
Okay.
and get
Because
that.
if you just find someone else's, send it to
Right.
me and I can make
Okay.
it ours.
Alright, perfect.
Okay, so your next steps are gonna be twofold. You need a public hearing. There's also certain things you have to do on the seeker, even though it's a no impact. There's a certain process and a certain resolution that has to be passed regarding the seeker. And then, you need a public hearing. I don't know if you have to do the seeker part of it before you proceed to the public hearing, or if those two can be done together. I have no idea.
What's secret stand for again?
State environmental quality review, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I can ask Rob.
Yeah,
Back my days as
yeah.
planner, but technically. You have to do the seeker before you open the public hearing. I came down about 10 years ago.
thank you.
That's quite handy having you in.
But not that anybody is doing.
Feel free, just keep us.
We haven't done one in so long, that's why I don't.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't remember the steps.
And my only other comment is, I read through it, it seems enforceable and it wouldn't be a burden on the code enforcement office. For the most part, it's what we would be doing anyways, but it'll be more work on the board's part. But I think I think though that it's important because something with this type of impact, I don't want to be the only one signing that.
Right.
I think that it's in us having the ability to say, no, that's not necessarily going to work here, but let's look at this location.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
So what do we need to do to move forward with the seeker?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, Rob attached the seek part 1 and part 2. With his comments, and I totally forgot to
Forward the rest.
forward them. He did not make any comments on what to do next with that. He probably said, so I can reply back and ask him if you want me to.
Right, we forward the whole thing and
Yeah,
I have
okay.
a
well,
small list of things I'm gonna be
Okay.
emailing him about later this week, so I might as well add that to it.
Okay.
When should we get a date scheduled? for
Well,
the
that's
hearing,
really-
Or should we just do the
Yeah.
seeker first?
Should we do
and
the
then
seeker
wait?
first and then
If
I
you,
think.
do the?
because I don't, if the seeker requires a public hearing, then you need a resolution to do a public hearing on the seeker, but I'm not sure that the seeker requires a public hearing. I know the local law does.
I kind of think we should just do the seeker first. It's not like there's any hurry.
Which says
Yes.
it doesn't require a public
No,
hearing.
if you're just making the negative declaration. Yeah, there's no public hearing. The only time there's public hearing part in seeker is if it's environmental statement.
Okay.
That's when the
Thank you.
public hearing is.
Okay.
So do the seeker first. Get that out of the way, then have a public hearing.
Wait till we get the feedback, the approval of the seeker, or?
So it's just you, the board, that approved
Yeah,
it.
that's just.
You can just approve the seeker and then have your public hearing.
Okay.
So we need to set a date for public hearing.
No, because we have done secret.
Well, we'll approve the seeker next.
Seeker's
board
just
meeting
paperwork.
soon, right? We have to approve
Right.
that next board meeting.
Right, you just have to do a resolution adopting that negative declaration.
Okay. So then the next board meeting, make a public hearing.
Yeah, we can do that. So sort of,
So you push your public hearing off into April?
Sure, or we could make a public hearing now, I don't know.
Well, you can set the date, but you could decide whether it's your March meeting and you're just doing the seeker right immediately before that public hearing. Or you're gonna do the seeker at your March meeting and the public hearing at your April meeting.
any preference?
Do it at the March meeting.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Alright, so it'll be March 11th. for public hearing, and I need someone to make that resolution.
I'll make a resolution that we have a public hearing for the telecommunications tower on March 11th.
Second the motion.
For the first and the second, any further questions?
It's
Comments?
for the actual,
For the
Local
actual
law.
local law.
Local law.
Yes, for the
Yes.
local law.
The opportunity for the public to come and.
Right,
make
and
statements.
seeker will be on the agenda right before that.
Are we gonna put the proposed local law on the website so people can look at it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
right,
part of the
yeah,
advertising,
okay.
yes.
Right, we have a first and second, all in favor?
Right.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, Jason, one other thing. Update on generators.
Yeah, as soon as the weather gets a little bit better, because like the power will need to be out for about a full day. So there won't be heat. The generators are on site. There's just a couple of miscellaneous things that need to be picked up and we'll get a solid date from the electrician. He's going to coordinate with Jane for this. For most likely it'll be a Friday, just in case it goes on, in case it requires something that pushes it to the next day as well. It won't, it won't be a 2-day thing where the town hall doesn't have power.
Okay,
So it should be within, I'd say, the next month and a half, when we should be able to get them all installed.
can it
excellent.
be on weekend days or?
That's, I
We're doing
can,
on Saturday, Sunday.
but I have very little to do
All right.
with the actual.
I
installation.
wouldn't force the electrician to work on a Sunday.
Um,
I don't think that's right. I wouldn't force him to work on a Sunday.
Well, it probably charges more probably anyway.
But I can check on that.
There's also maybe some upcoming holidays where private sector doesn't necessarily take it off, but government does.
There's not in March.
There's not, oh,
There's not in March.
no,
Next Monday, we have off.
yeah.
But it also does, I mean, NICEAG will have to come and do the way the new stuff is set up, but NICEAG's probably not going to want to come and do a disconnect on a Saturday or Sunday.
No.
Because they
More
have
money,
to
yeah.
NICEAG has to disconnect
disconnect and every,
this. And then-
so there's a whole bunch of things we need to line up in terms, it's just logistical stuff, like we have to have the electrical inspector on site. We have to have NICEAG prepared to come and do a disconnect, the electrical inspector will sign off once everything. And say that NICEAG can do the reconnect. So it's just pulling all those people where the electrical inspector typically is only in Skylar. He has some flexibility, but he's here all day on Fridays. So it's just pulling all the different parties together. It's before the days of smart meter, that NICEAG didn't need to do the disconnect, but they do need to do a full disconnect now. That's why it's, we're planning a little bit longer with the time that the power will be off.
Well, thanks for organizing it, Jason, because it's been a long time coming to have some generators.
Yes,
It's been
right. I know, we are in the home stretch. It's,
So, right, so if we're looking at a Friday, the Friday before a board meeting is a no. That's the only, that's the only Friday, the Friday before a board meeting and maybe the Friday before the week that has DA night in court, which is the fourth Wednesday, so.
okay, so those-
But I can work around that one better than a Friday before the board meeting is an absolute no.
okay,
So in March, avoid the board meeting, April, avoid the board meeting,
Okay.
and you'll be all right.
all right, sounds good.
You
And then I'll coordinate with Scott too for the best Friday for the highway department. They're not as dependent on having power, but they can make sure everybody's gassed up and things so they're not running out.
Yeah, best not to do it during a snowstorm either.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Do we need to do a resolution? Is this happen on March 11th?
That would happen.
You,
Accept it,
yeah, you cannot accept it until you hold your public hearing.
Oh, right, yeah. okay,
You have
yeah,
to,
Yeah.
you have to do
Yeah,
your
that would be
public
pretty
hearing
obvious.
first.
Okay. So I will plan on taking out the or modified.
I think that's a good idea
Jason's recommendation. Okay,
for Jason.
Yeah, and then send me a clean copy.
yes, I will.
I could change it too. I could take, if it's all,
Yeah,
just
I
if
can
it's
do it.
just taking out those two highlighted words, I can do
It
that
is.
on my end.
Okay,
But I do need all the secret stuff.
okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Town clerk and tax collector has some stuff to share tonight.
Oh, yeah, way too much. Okay, um. Town clerk's office took in $3,228 in the month of January. $3,140 went to the town supervisor and $88 went to the animal population control fund. I have not received anything from our new shelter contract. I know that one dog was taken in January, but I haven't received any bill or anything, so I don't know what he intends to bill us. So I don't have anything on that, but I just know that there was one dog that I heard about in a roundabout way. Tax collection. I kind of put these numbers out here because I wanted you to see just exactly how busy this place is in the last 4 days of January. On January 31st, the tax collector's bank balance was $4,341,877.38, which earned $5,001.22 interest. January 31st receipts that came in through mail, credit cards, escrow companies that were not deposited as of January 31st totaled $1,689,939.86. So that's like about a 4-day collection period. We still do not quite have all of those entered in the computer. We're working as fast as we can to get all of the payments into the computer. All of the money has been deposited and receipts have been sent out to all of the taxpayers that have an escrow, because we're required by law to mail those receipts. Unfortunately, a couple of them got the receipt, thought it was a bill that their escrow didn't pay, and they went online and paid. So we're dealing with a couple of figuring out how to deal with a couple of e-check refunds. I have one from earlier in January that got refunded twice. I'm still trying to get back my $240.38. On February 6th, I paid off the town supervisor to the tune of $3,195,305. So the town has been paid in full for the budget and the delinquent water bills. So the bank balance as of today is $2,836,512.24. February has a 1% penalty. We do collect through the end of March with a 2% penalty in March. The balance of the monies at this point, other than interest and penalties, goes to the county treasurer. And April 1st, shortly thereafter, everything that's not paid goes to the county as delinquent. So that's taxes in a nutshell, and we're still driving ourselves crazy. Water district was a billing month for the months of November and December, which then goes in, that goes in 2024's, the billing portion goes in 2024's income. But my report for what we collected in January, or what we billed in January, was $63,105.53. We collected payments through January of $40,504.04. The re-levy from last fall is still in the outstanding numbers. There's total arrears outstanding of $68,062.53. However, $33,000 of that was paid to the supervisor on February 6th. So that shows up in the next. The total arrears goes down considerably for February. But other than that, water district is just moving along. If anybody has any questions on any of those, if not, I'll move on to the next request. Town Justice Navone, needs to do, certain annual training for town justice position every year. He has, registered to attend a, core A and B live in-person training. It's actually outside of Albany at Castleton on the Hudson, March 19th and 20th, although he does need to have a hotel room for March 18th and 19th, I believe. So it does require, there's no charge for the court training, but there is a charge for a hotel room and meals and transportation. So it does require board resolution to authorize him to go.
That makes the motion.
I'll second.
Right, we have a first and second. Any further questions or comments about the judge training?
Do we want to put a spend cap on this? resolution?
I don't know what the hotel costs
No way,
are.
man, let him get the nicest one he can find. No, I'm just kidding.
They, because it's all the judges and whatever, the state actually works out a pretty good deal with whatever hotel they're using, usually. It's just meals would be on top of it, whatever the hotel is, but. I don't have the information on what the hotel cost is.
Imagine if, I mean, it's a set price if he's staying in the hotel that they negotiated the deal.
Yeah.
It's,
It's like your New York City
Yeah,
one.
it's like our New York
It's
City one.
pretty, like a package deal type thing.
right, if there's no further questions or comments, all in favor of authorizing the judge's training trip? Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right,
Right, and then I'd like authorization for the annual town clerks conference. It is in Syracuse this year. I did give you a sheet that shows the total costs. Because it's Sunday through Wednesday. You go up on Sunday, come home. It ends by about 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Total cost between the hotel and registration and meals is $984. And that's April 27th through the 30th.
Well, I will make a motion to allow the town clerk to go to the clerk's conference.
A second.
we have a first and a second. Any further questions or comments about authorizing the clerk to attend the clerk's conference? Hearing none, all in favor of authorizing the town clerk to attend the conference? Aye.
Thank you.
Anybody opposed? Carries.
So the last thing I had is a date for dumpster day.
Oh,
People are
Are we
asking,
already there?
and
Gee.
we did set the date last February. We set the date for 2024. We usually do either sometime in May or in
Early June.
June. Last year we did June 1st. The highway guys are thinking June 7th. Not being a short week with, if you did May 31st, that makes that a short week for them to do the pickups that they do for senior citizens. So they would prefer the full week for the pickups. Well, the 4-day week, not the 3-day work week, because by then they'll be on 10-hour days. So, they were thinking either pushing back to May 17th, which I think is a bit early, or going with June 7th. So what's everybody's pleasure?
June 7th, is fine with me.
Yeah, was it the first Saturday in June?
It was the
last year?
first Saturday in June last
Yeah,
year,
it's either like
because we did the first last
May
year.
17th is possibly a little too cold and June 7th
Could be
is
snowy.
blazing hot.
Yeah. Be snowy.
I'm okay with either date.
we have to check with the
We need to check with the fire companies and with sort outs,
Sort
but
out.
if I have at least a tentative date we're looking at,
Hmm.
then hopefully Justin can make a few phone calls.
I'd say June 7th.
Once we
Yeah.
do settle a date, I would like to think about some good ways to promote it more than last year, so we can numbers back with it, then historically.
Yeah, our numbers weren't bad last year, but they were down some.
Slower, yeah.
It was a little slower last year. Okay. We can meet and do,
We have a meeting next week, right? Next 20th.
yeah,
Well, yeah, we have, plus we
Yeah.
have our
Right.
yeah, but
audit on the 20th.
yeah, our audits on, our annual audit, financial audits on the
Got
20th,
it.
so we can,
That's not a communications. meeting,
That's not a
No.
communications meeting, that's all of us, yeah.
right,
Got it.
that's all of us, but
We
we
can
can,
all communicate.
we can all figure out some, whatever, yeah.
When's it? The 20th of week of flowers.
Probably 3 hours.
Yeah, we start at noon, but you should plan on at least 3 hours by the time you get through all of the financial records of all the department heads. Which the most part of it you get from me, but,
Mhm.
um,
Judge has got a pretty.
the judge has, yeah,
Just,
he's got a section. Which we're working on.
he knows the updated date, correct?
I think so, but he has court tomorrow, so he'll learn.
Perfect.
I hope he does. I think I told him, but. Okay, so the next thing was the Historical Society.
Yeah, we have a request. Is this their standard request or are they asking for more?
I don't think they're asking for more. I don't,
Cause I know we had a letter and I'm
we had a letter, I think,
quite
at
sure we
budget time.
budgeted
And
for
we
it.
did budget, but this is, they're telling you what they did and what they accomplished last year, and they did attach a copy of their 2025 membership application, so. We, the town, have never done a membership application, but we do send
Send
them
them,
some
yeah,
money for
we-
some support,
Right,
so,
which means we should figure out what that is and maybe next month we could send them their support check.
yeah, I think usually they send a voucher or something, but I don't know. But was it 500?
I think
That's
that sounds,
Yes, it might
even
have
though that's
My guess.
not even an amount
Right.
factor, but I feel like it was 500.
Right, so we could look and see whatever we budgeted, we can send it anytime probably. But at least they're telling us what type of things they worked on in 2024.
Yeah, they don't have that box, huh? All right, we have talked about this for quite a while. Getting all of the Williamson Law books on a single schedule.
Oh, intimidating, I love it.
The funny thing about it was
Oh,
Jessica
yeah.
reached out just to inquire about the feasibility of doing it, and they came back like the next day and said, okay, it's all set, here we are.
Yeah.
Without, we didn't say, please do it, we just
So
said.
it's
"Can-"
done.
But it's done.
You must be so psyched.
Here.
For years, this has been.
Well, after the last town board meeting, I said, no longer being in the dark. This is one of my goals, right? To
Uh-huh.
just, okay, so I came to the town hall and I got the list of the Williamson Law. And I made up a nice little spreadsheet and I was gonna give these at this town board meeting and present the idea.
When each of them reviews.
But I called Williamson Law Book to find out if it was even possible for them
Uh-huh.
to put it all in the same cycle.
And they've done it.
And the person that I needed to talk to wasn't there, so I talked to the secretary and she said, well, I'll ask and see. And then like 3 days later, she's like, okay, so we did it. And I'm like, oh, wait.
Did they
I thought permission to do
Yes.
it.
Yes,
Yes, they prorated them.
When I give that to everyone. I
Right,
just
so
made
your
copies.
numbers are what we,
These are the numbers are not actually.
they don't
These are
coincide.
They don't-
pre them actually doing the proration. This
right,
is what annually these
Sure.
charges are. They were all in different cycles. Now they'll all be in one cycle.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
It's not as
So-
much as you think.
no, so we last.
More than more than $7,000.
I mean, it was like 20,000 or
Yeah.
something. Like, it was just like a lot.
No, no.
So,
So town clerk tax collector was paid in January and so was the water billing. But the email part of the water billing was not. So the dollar amount on the email billing part has been adjusted. The payroll and the accounting numbers have been adjusted. So, and I think even codes
I think so.
was adjusted because codes was running from October to September. So the dollar amount,
You got them all.
I know, right? That's what I
Yes.
said too. I was like, no.
but you don't have them all in front of you. Because in January, we
But
did
they're
the
all on
town
this
clerk,
list.
tax collector, and we did the water billing and collection. So you have two of them that are not in front of you, okay?
But they're all on this
A
list,
hand
right?
adjust, a hand adjust.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was
So-
really difficult.
So building codes,
Right.
out of the 2025 budget, because part of it, most of his was paid in 2024. So building codes for this year is only going to be $151.
All right.
The accounting software is 628. Because that was in August to July.
Oh, Jane, you're reading us the amount they're charging us.
Yes,
Okay.
payroll is going to be 402. Because that was a September to August, so there was only 402 left to be, so you're saving money
This year.
this year, but next year you'll go back to the full prices. And then the other water part is, only the email part has not been paid. Because it was on a different cycle, so that's only 325 instead of. It was 355 for a whole year. So those 4 contracts need to be approved, which can all be done in one resolution.
And then next January, we'll get all of them.
Next January, you'll have, the other
Oh.
2.
We need them as separate resolutions?
Nope, I wrote it all in one.
Excellent. Okay, I motion to approve the Williamson Law Book, contract.
Software support
Software
contract.
for work contracts for building and codes. For $151, accounting for $628. Annual software support for $402. Sewer, water and email support software for $325.
Do you
She
make a
made it.
motion?
I did.
I will second that.
Thank you.
I was gonna let.
I was gonna wait for you to say.
What? It's zoning out.
All right.
Looking at it.
We have a first and a second for signing all the remaining Williamson Law Book software contract support documents. All in favor? Aye.
And these are the ones you'll need to sign.
Well, good job,
Anybody
guys.
opposed?
You've done it.
Guess
We
that
talked about
motion
it
carries.
talked about it for 6
Yeah.
years and it took like.
You won't see this again until next year.
Exactly. Leave it
Nope, there'll be one next month.
at-
And then we'll be
know.
like, oh, yeah,
Well,
about the.
I honestly didn't believe it either. I was like, there's no way. I think there's like 12 of them. I feel like we
It
get them once.
feels like
One
there's
for
no-
one.
but it's not 12 of them. I tried to tell you that.
It really did feel like.
Well, I mean, there's like the water one, there's 2 different contracts that fall under that. because
Yeah.
there's the
Right,
email
and-
Support separate from.
Yeah.
All right, we have talked about this on a few occasions, the computer email backups, and we can break them apart and do them individually if we so choose.
Anthony said no.
I just talked to him about 4
And he
hours
told
ago.
you you could,
Yes.
okay.
He said
He
he's
told
struggling.
he told me when he was here, no.
Oh,
So-
interesting.
All right, so
These are
the-
more researchers.
the thing,
Confusion.
all right, so the thing that I want to put out there to you though is there is a 6-year retention on all of your emails. So when you guys have emails, you really shouldn't be deleting them, you should be keeping them. There's a 6-year retention period. So when somebody leaves office,
Uh-oh, too late.
their emails need to be kept for 6 years. So if you don't do
Well,
a backup somewhere, board members that have them on their own devices, if there's not a backup somewhere, the town has nothing should there be something foiled on an email in that period. So, but we need to give Anthony a decision at SCT Computers. He's asking that you make a final decision. Either you don't do them or you do them. And tell him which way. But I'm just pointing out to you what the retention requirements are.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no, I can't imagine there'd be any way to really enforce that. I mean, you'd have to tell board members when they start, first of all, which I'm just learning this
Well-
after 7 years, so
Well-
I've deleted plenty of emails.
Right, but we've talked
Um,
about retention schedules.
Every
Over.
spam email I've ever gotten.
Spam, you don't know, spam you don't need to keep,
I
but
received it.
but your other emails, like your emails back and forth to other employees or whatever, or from constituents or whatever those are.
Or
since
if you
you're-
think something's done and decided and over with, I like to get that out of my,
Right, but you can take it out of your inbox, put it in a folder.
It still needs to be held, just basically
It just
spam and
is-
advertising.
Yeah, they're not,
yeah, I mean, if that's what you want us
Yes.
to do, fine.
350 per email per month, and there was how many emails?
25, wasn't there?
I don't know, it was about approximately a total of $800 a year.
Well, I mean, the other side of that is this bill will always be subject to expansion, because if you leave the board, I leave the board, our emails have to sit there for 6 additional years.
Right?
Yeah, but what he did when Bob Barton left was archived Bob Barton's emails on the server, and I have access to them. So when somebody left, because he could archive them. So,
I think that's how we should retain them myself. I don't know, to me, it doesn't seem worth a monthly recurring fee. I mean, maybe for the supervisor's email, which is a little bit, more important. But I don't think the general board emails. I don't know, that's just my personal preference. I'm never in favor of a recurring expense if you have a way to not have a recurring expense.
As long as everybody knows what the procedure is and follows it.
Mhm.
I don't know, I guess I'm torn on it. I feel like we all are. Maybe we should
Yeah,
just
I
not do
mean,
anything
there could
right
be
now.
things
and
that-
well, if you're not gonna
visit
do any of,
again.
I would say if you're not gonna do them all, don't do any of them.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
but when somebody leaves,
Make sure we,
make sure that there gets to be an archival of your emails, which Anthony will have to do.
But I mean, it's easy enough. I mean, to say it perfectly frankly, if I wanted to erase stuff. Be really easy to if I was doing corrupt things behind the scenes,
So there's no real state guidance about how to do this,
you're just
how we
supposed,
should be doing this, or,
you're just supposed to be keeping them for the retention period.
yeah, so.
Yeah, but
We
they
have-
don't
if
have,
you're doing-
they don't have
if you're
to,
doing
you
illicit things,
don't,
you're not
they don't,
keep-
right, but they don't have to remain in your inbox. You can set up a folder that says, town emails, you can split it between departments if you want. You can, my list of email folders is this long,
Yeah,
because I put them by category, so,
I'll
which just
put
shows
in the
them.
list of the folder of things that I did that are legal, and then the ones I.
See what happens.
But that's, yeah, so,
Label it well.
yeah, so my feeling is, it's, if you're not gonna do every one of them, don't do any of them, so.
Great, I'm in
it's
favor.
That's, so then you,
I feel, I mean, I'm in theory for the idea, but it hasn't been a problem so far. And sometimes I feel like maybe we're just making it.
It won't be a problem
hard to
until somebody
know.
foils something.
right, it's not until somebody foils something.
Exactly.
But Anthony did just tell me he's had some municipal places that they do them for, that their insurance companies are asking if their emails are backed up. So just be aware, down the road, no matter what decision you make today, down the road, you might end up changing and having to do it, but I don't know.
I think what we could do since obviously there was a lack of awareness even on the board, is get our communications group together. We create a email retention policy or protocol and policy.
It already.
Do we have it?
It already exists.
We
Then
did a
we-
great job.
Then we need to make sure that everybody who has an email signs off on that before
Yeah,
they
that's a good
are given
idea.
the keys to their email, so to
That's a good
speak.
idea, yeah.
And at least we have some accountability, because I was unaware of our email retention policy.
So do
Yeah.
we have a protocol, and does it say not to
do.
delete anything?
No, it doesn't say not to delete anything, but eh,
Let's get that out and we can revisit it.
Yeah,
for the
let's
next-
it's-
make sure we have.
any town business email is supposed to be kept. Whether it's an item that you know, discussion went back and forth on this item, that item gets settled through however, whatever processes, you don't delete the email. You're supposed to keep them.
Okay,
All municipalities have always had a 6-year retention on just about everything we do.
okay.
There are other things that have a longer retention, like your payroll and your accounting records and some of your financial records, certain ones have longer retention periods. And like your minutes are a permanent retention, your budgets are a permanent retention.
Right, now that I know that, I can certainly set up extra folders to store stuff that I would otherwise have been
Right.
deleting.
Yeah.
And go with that.
Sounds good, let's move on.
All right, we have one more thing. George is here again, and I was hoping you had some more information to share with us about the work that you would be able to offer.
Yeah,
And then we'll finish. We'll be wrapping up for the evening.
yeah, hopefully it'll be quick. The semester has started.
I'm gonna mention that.
Actually, I got a surprise the first day. I was appointed director of graduate studies.
Oh, okay,
In
yeah.
addition to
Congratulations.
everything else. Well, yes, it's like no good deeds goes unpunished. But, you know, I sent around again has everybody seen this proposal?
I don't
I'm pretty
know
sure I
that-
haven't seen it.
I haven't.
It's
Yeah.
Have you?
it's more
Right.
an outline of what I'm proposing for us to do. And it's flexible. I've started introducing Hector to the class. We're starting week 4 of the semester. And so my job is actually teaching the basics of how to do a comprehensive plan. And that's what we're working on now, but what I did was take the existing plan and use it as an outline for what we propose to do this semester. And that's what I just handed out. What I want to report on though is sort of our schedule. And see if it will work for you. I have several field trips. The big one is Saturday, March 22nd, Sunday, March 23rd. And actually, one of my issues this semester is I have a record number of students, so we'll be doing the same field trip twice. And it's known as a windshield survey. We'll be driving around the town of Hector, couple of bands, and stop occasionally. I will point things out to the students and like, but it's their opportunity to really get a good feel for the town of Hector. And so, and be 8 hours plus or minus. Lunch somewhere in Hector. So, well, that's one thing, and again. If you guys are welcome to join us if you like, but the plan is to just, we be out there. Driving around.
Hmm.
Um,
So you're gonna have one group of students Saturday and another group Sunday?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's, I've got 21, which is
Wow,
almost twice the normal class
Wow.
size.
Wow.
So, and I'm trying to figure out ideas. How we can use them. And maybe do a little more than comprehensive plan update.
Hmm.
So. Then at some point, and this is something we don't have to schedule tonight, but I have in our budget. Either an evening during the week or Saturday afternoon public forum. I'd like to give the students experience with making public presentations and taking questions from the public, et cetera, et cetera. And sometime, let's see, what did I say? Probably early April. Do that. And the point is, the students would actually present literally what they know about the town of Hector. They've done their field inventory work and their analysis and everything, stuff like population, road infrastructure, et cetera, updating again the existing comprehensive plan. So the idea is they come back, make a presentation, public, answer questions, and also ask about issues that are important to the participants in the forum. And then we can take that information back and then draft up the actual plan recommendations. So, as I said, with all the students I had, the original plan was comprehensive plan update. Two possibilities in addition to a comprehensive plan would be to maybe draft a separate park and open space protection plan. Just focus on that particular aspect of planning. And another one is an agricultural and farmland protection plan.
we have one.
You have one?
We have
Okay, well,
we have a right to farm law.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
well, then we'll scratch that one off.
I mean, it could be looked at to see if,
Well, no, we will, we will look at it as part of the comprehensive.
Is it
plan.
on our website currently, Jane?
I don't know if that one is or not, but
I'll
I can-
check.
If I was gonna say, I can get it from Jane and send it to you, or Jane can send it to you.
I'll just go to the website and check.
I
Okay,
don't think it's on the website.
it might not be. It's
Okay.
probably old enough. It's probably not on the website, so. It might
Okay,
not
well,
have gotten
then if
put
it's
there,
old-
but
If it's old enough. It would be a good exercise for the
Mhm.
students to take it and
Update it.
update it.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
all right,
yeah.
we'll find it for you.
Okay. So, and also, especially if we're doing more than comprehensive plan. The way we operate is. What you would get at the end of the semester. And again, maybe this is actually a second public presentation. Probably the beginning of May, the students come back and present their draft proposal to you. And again, it's a draft. And the idea is they turn it in. I've looked at it. But now it's your turn to take a close look at it. And over the next few months, actually even 6 months or so, I'm sort of here as support.
Great.
Because the idea is we don't have time to really give you a good product in one semester.
Hmm.
But what we do is we give you a draft that you can respond to. You know, say, yes, this is good, this is not so good, et cetera, et cetera. And over the course of however months it takes, come up with a draft that you can, that Hector can accept as its own.
Now, I remember when the comprehensive plan was written the first time, people received a survey. Will there be a survey that goes out to all the taxpayers in Hector? I mean, obviously, we pay for postage, but I didn't know if that was a component of the project.
I hoped,
Uh-huh,
I'd actually put in for funding,
uh-huh,
what's it, $1,200 or something like
uh-huh,
that.
yeah.
And it was denied.
uh-huh. But if we were to pay for postage, is that, and I think that was our hope to have a public input component in the comprehensive plan update.
I don't know, I put in like, the number I remember was 1,200.
Uh-huh,
And I forget it, I thought that was like just for printing.
uh-huh,
Um,
uh-huh.
and
Well-
that's what was denied.
Is there something, is that the extra component that you, other than the right to farm law that could be done is to put together a survey, the students could propose a survey that we would then deal
You can
with.
take in finance and
Well-
complete.
Yeah. And it may be something later on, you may be able to have the funding. Or even, you know, towards the end of the semester. I may have some extra, you know, funding in my budget. To help out with it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we can decide that. Later, you know,
Well, if we had help with the survey, we could also just budget
Yeah,
for
we
it
could.
next year or whatever, and then. I think the thing that we're seeking is input on a really good survey.
Right, yeah. I think
That
that's
is,
accurate.
you know, that's really expansive and, you know, includes all the different things that we would want to know from people. Cause you know, anyone can do like a survey on monkey survey or whatever, but we don't necessarily, you know, it's an art, like surveying itself is like an art, and I don't really know if that's something that
well,
could
it's
be,
how you word the survey.
yeah.
And actually, I'm computer illiterate. But you just mentioned Survey Monkey.
Yeah,
Let me look into that,
yeah,
or let me have the students look into it.
yeah, and it would necessarily be something that I think that we would necessarily require the technology on, but the actual questions
Yeah, well.
on a piece of paper, even if they were that.
The action plan was, you've got the survey from 2015.
Yeah.
Comprehensive plan,
Yes,
and definitely start with that.
yes.
Yes, and
I-
update that to what's relevant
Update
in
that.
2025.
Put it on Survey Monkey and possibly have some copies here at Town Hall for people who don't have computer access.
Well, we don't have a good database of resident email addresses.
Right, we do not.
Oh, no, I just mean,
Oh,
yeah. Get the message out conventional ways, possibly a postcard, even though that won't be that expensive.
Yeah, postcard with a link to where to get the survey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
QR
Or to
code.
pick up a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay.
yeah, that'd be a good additional.
yeah, cause couldn't we,
I will go, yeah, take this back.
We
We
could put a link on the website.
oh, we could put a link on the
Those who
webs.
saw it could do it probably right on the website,
Oh, yeah.
but. Then we would have to have some record of who did it, and then I don't really know
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know how you, yeah.
Take, we want verification that they're a resident of the town.
But I guess the
Right,
question is how important, I don't know, what are the questions? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
let's work on the
question.
survey first, then we
Yeah,
can
you
work
guys
on
go
deliver.
with Survey questions, we'll work on getting it out. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
the question is more, how do you make a survey that's helpful, because
Okay, But
We had
again,
some pretty contentious times here in the town a few years ago talking
I'm
about zoning.
I heard them
Uh-huh,
over in Ithaca.
uh-huh. And, you know, we kind of left it, we'll ask people their thoughts when we update the comprehensive plan, so I'd hate to miss out on the chance to actually do that.
Yes,
Okay, well, again, that's. What I have in terms of report, possibly come back, make another report at the March meeting.
Nice. Yeah.
And obviously, I cannot bring the class to the meeting.
Why not?
If you came towards the end, a lot of times there are this many seats by the end of the night.
But no, what I can also do is just bring, some of the students who may be really interested.
They can also watch on YouTube, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Indeed,
So, but yeah, and again, this evening was actually pretty useful for me. I've been taking down notes and the like. And again, some ideas, extra work, we can give the students to do
Nice.
great.
since we're here.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Well, thanks, George. Really
Thank
good to
you.
See you, appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Was there any online comments before we?
I didn't see any coming through Zoom.
And I don't know how you see anybody on YouTube, so.
Wasn't
And
showing up
it only shows there were four
people watching. Okay,
people, so
Yeah, I don't see any comments on the YouTube, so.
okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know if there was
I don't even know if
If it
there's a
went-
way
did
to
it go
comment
through-
on it, because I don't see a way to
is it
comment.
still feeding through Facebook?
Yeah,
Last month, it seemed like it worked a little differently on Facebook. This month, I could only copy the link. Last month, I actually could like share the live feed, I think, so.
Did you log into the towns?
well, it's on there, it's there, it's,
Oh, that's the
Playing
Facebook
live,
feed?
maybe?
yeah, this is on YouTube.
Right.
It's not, I didn't find it on Facebook. I just find it on this, I went straight to YouTube to find it. I couldn't find it on Facebook.
Huh, yeah, last month it seemed like it worked differently. I hit share and it shared it right to the town's YouTube live.
Because, yeah,
This time it would only let me copy it.
yeah, and it says there's 4 viewers, but I can't see them.
Yeah, I think that's what it says on YouTube, so I.
That's what he's looking at.
And there's 3 subscribers.
All right, look at us.
So,
I make a motion to.
Well,
adjourn.
I wanted to address one last thing. We have miscellaneous correspondence.
Oh, yeah, that was nice.
We have a letter from that's addressed to all the Hector staff. And we wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to see this.
That's real sweet.
Yeah, that was nice. Nice to hear nice things,
Mhm.
good things.
Mhm.
Thank yous.
So before you adjourn, I just have one question.
Sure.
You guys this whole thing, are we going back down that rabbit hole with zoning? Is that what we're doing?
No, comprehensive plan is, it could entail zoning, but it's not a, if you have zoning, it's gonna talk about zoning. The original comprehensive plan that was put out in 2015 did talk about the merits of some type of land use control, but that is not it. The state would like to see an updated comprehensive plan every 10 years. This is 10 years in, so we're looking to update it. Comprehensive plan is on the website. It talks about the nature of the town of Hector. It talks about natural resources, parkland, farmland. It tells you about the town and where the town is going, kind of.
And you
But
can read it. It's like a really easy to read. like,
None of it is,
Format.
none of it binds you by law. It's just
It's felt like the public spoke last time. Like.
50-50. Everything we do,
Got in there and everything else.
everything we do apparently is 50-50, just like at a national level. And with that in mind, the one thing I do also want to comment while we're on live is that Wednesday evening, tomorrow evening, there is a second public meeting that discusses the feasibility study for the septic district. And I want
Catch it first time. I guess it wasn't advertised.
to, yeah, It was advertised on a bunch of sites, but
Well,
it's,
I'm here every week. I didn't hear you guys talk about it the week before or the month before. You guys didn't mention it in your
No,
meeting
we
here.
did.
We've been talking about
yeah,
it.
but
I got, you know.
yeah, neither here nor there. It's tomorrow evening and
Where's
We're
it?
done-
at the
done.
Burdette Fire Hall. This is not something that is in the works. It's not,
Okay.
this is strictly a feasibility study to find out. We can't see if it's even worth pursuing if we don't know how much something like this would cost.
Right.
Well, and this was the Village of Burdette wanting public sewage. The only way they can do it, get the grants for it, is if the town of Hector
Combines with them.
combines with them. So they solicited to us, would you guys be interested in a public sewage? And it was not something we had really considered, but we did the feasibility study, which the county.
The county
foot the
assisted
bill
on it and got a
largely
grant.
for.
I think we paid $2,000 of the
$2,000.
$50,000 feasibility study. And once again, it's a case of, we don't know if it's makes any sense. We don't know if it makes a lot of sense for the Village of Burdette. Maybe it makes a lot of sense for the Village of Burdette and a mile up 414, but that's what we're trying to find out. It's not gonna be cheap. It would be something that we would go into without an enormous amount of grants, but it's also something that's not in any level of planning stage. It was a, hey, is this a possibility? You know, who knows? They could have come back and said it's gonna be $300 a person per year.
Mm-mm.
Didn't come back that way, but you know, we don't know anything, so there were people, interestingly enough, at the last meeting, most of those people don't live in the sewer district, and they were convinced that this is something that was already half done and they were gonna be paying for it in their taxes. And it would be very
And
much
it's-
like the water district. If it were to ever happen, you would only pay for it if you lived in
Right.
the
it
That's
just-
the
district.
clarification of it, like County Road 7, you're not gonna be paying for it. It's
No.
not For that.
Exactly,
So-
exactly,
So they would be taxed for it. So,
exactly.
You know, just reading stuff on, Hector has it all.
Yep.
You know, you got
Right.
the comments of that. So it's-
And
Yeah,
I,
majority of what you read on social media.
No, yeah,
is
no.
not-
We talk about it?
No, it's great. You're asking these questions, and that's why you asked a very simple question, and I'm rambling on because.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there were a lot of comments, and I know there's lots of stuff being said, but you know, nobody sent me. Or Larry Jane, the village representative, nobody sent us a single email to ask questions or clarifications about it.
I have been trying on a couple of things that I have seen on Hector Has It All and Hector Has It All Uncensored. I've been trying to make sure that people realize it is only a proposed district in a certain area of the town. That basically, if you're not in the Village of Burdette or in the 414 corridor, you're not in it. That it would operate similar to what our water district does. If you're not gonna pay for it if you're out here in Reynoldsville or
I feel like the
Even-
clarification will be tomorrow, because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more people there than the
Yeah.
last time.
I sent an email earlier this week to the engineer who did the presentation, and I said, please make it very clear. Here are some things that I was concerned that didn't get addressed well in the last one, and one of them was that if this were to ever move forward, only residents of the district would be responsible for it, and if you were a town resident not within the district, it would not be impacting your
Yeah.
taxes, like the water district.
Yeah.
So
so.
I asked for him to please clarify a handful of things that I felt were overlooked.
Yeah, because people are spouting off
Oh, they're
in
going nuts.
wrong directions about it, and I don't jump in a lot, but I do try to clarify something like that, that is a specific thing that is not correct. So I've tried. I have tried for the past week, multiple times, to put that flyer up that they had. I finally got it in an electronic format. I cannot open it and move it. It screws up my Adobe program. Doesn't allow me to do anything with it, so I finally gave up. I did put it on the calendar on the website, but that actual flyer that had a little bit more information.
Can you print it and just take a picture and post the
You can
picture?
screenshot it.
Well, it's a
PDF.
6-page document.
No, 6 pages.
It's a 6-page document, so I gave up. I spent far too, it's this. I spent far too much time trying to get the electronic version of this that was sent to me so that I could upload it and put it on the website, attach it there as a link to this document. And the one thing that everybody has said anything about is there's no interactive map so that you can see if you are in this or you're not in this. So I don't know why I asked Larry James multiple times for this document, and this is the only one of this I have. So I didn't even have,
I've asked them to give you more
I
of those too.
didn't
minimally.
have any I could hand out. They were stingy with printing anything.
If you
or-
come to the meeting, there will be a stack of these. As well as all the information on that and more. On bulletin boards around the room, so you can take a look on it, you get
Right.
down in better detail if you think you may or may not be living within that spot.
Right, because people expected, seeing this map laid out here on this document, they expected that if it were electronically, they'd be able to
Tap.
click on it and see where they're at. You can't even really make out the roads on this to see exactly where you're at to know, well, I'm at the corner of Shumway Road or something, and can I find it? No, so.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So those are the type of complaints that I've been hearing or seeing, so. Like I
Usually
said,
do pretty good at interactive maps, but this time
but
they
this
didn't.
time,
There-
I don't
that-
think
mean,
there is.
Online, I'm 99% sure there is not an interactive.
No, and what Larry sent me with this is, it's just a picture.
Can I see that?
Yep. But I tried, I gave up, I said, I'm far enough behind getting taxes into the computer system and balanced, and then everything I have to do for the board meeting and the upcoming annual financial audit.
Funny enough,
There's not enough hours.
I talked to someone at the county today, completely unrelated to this, but I was asking them for a map and they said, well, our mapper is gone. I'm gonna try to figure it out. I will get you that. So
There's
I'm
supposed to
wondering
be-
if maybe there was a mapper that someone left.
There is
the
supposed to
county.
be a new GIS person coming to the county
Oh,
starting. Any day now.
okay, so I wonder if that's.
Right, and we have a brand new tax director, real property tax director.
Any other questions? Did that cover as best, so that the comprehensive plan does not. It's not like 1+1 equals zoning, it's just we are updating, and as part of it, there's a survey, and as part of that, because during the whole zoning argument. People said that they never ever filled out this survey, so we want to give this survey out to everybody and give people an opportunity.
I know I didn't fill out a survey, I just know that I spoke on my behalf when we down. at the-
Right.
Right, because the
Kinda
survey.
vicious down there, I seen a lot of people going nuts, and I'm like.
Right, because the survey was only sent to those that were in that proposed district. It wasn't sent to.
Well, no, I
everybody.
was talking about
Oh, the other, that one.
Yeah, people were saying they never got surveyed during the first comprehensive plan. So we're trying to get this out and create the new survey that's gonna ask lots of things, not just about zoning, but it'll ask lots of things. And we wanna make sure that it's well known that people can take it. It's out there. If you don't take it, we can only do so much, but all the publicity we can give it saying that this is coming.
In 2015, when that comprehensive plan survey was sent out, it was sent out to every household address in the town of Hector. So that's how it was sent, so it wasn't necessarily, I don't know that it was sent to vacant land or whatever, but my understanding was it was sent to every household address. So if your address was 5516 Route 79, there was one addressed to you at that, but it went out in a bulk mailing. So did they all get through? Who knows?
Several years ago.
And it was in
Yeah.
2015. I actually think it probably would get better. I really think it would have gotten better delivered in 2015 than now.
I didn't get,
But-
you might not have been here.
No, I was here.
Very nice place to build around.
So.
Liz?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? This is really delaying.
Okay, I'm checking.
I'll second.
Yeah,